Nikolai Belinski, a deep backstory, childhood and youth. Nikolai Belinski was born in the Soviet Union during a time marked by political upheaval and social challenges. His early years were characterized by poverty and hardship. Soviet society in the early 20th century was steeped in ideologies and the pursuit of socialist idealism. Nikolai's family experienced the harsh realities of life under a totalitarian regime that often brutally suppressed dissent and deviations. Growing up in a world full of mistrust and fear, Nikolai was exposed early on to the concepts of loyalty and betrayal. He witnessed the hardships endured by many of his neighbors and friends, while the government controlled the people through propaganda and repression. These early experiences left a deep impression on him, shaping a worldview later defined by a strong sense of honor and loyalty to his friends and comrades. Military career. In his late teenage years, driven by a desire to fight for his country and a belief in communist ideals, Nikolai joined the Red Army. This is where his military training began, and he rose through the ranks as a soldier. His time in the army was marked by intense physical and mental challenges. Over time, Nikolai experienced the brutal reality of war firsthand. He fought on the front lines against the Nazis and witnessed the atrocities of World War II, including the devastation left behind in cities and villages. The constant exposure to death and destruction shaped him and led to a certain emotional detachment. The cruel experiences of war sharpened his senses and honed his skills as a soldier. He became known for his bravery in combat and his ability to quickly adapt to critical situations. Despite his capabilities, Nikolai was often haunted by the shadows of the past and the brutal reality of war, loss, and grief. A central aspect of Nikolai's backstory is the loss of his wife, who is frequently referred to as his painful anchor of memory in later stories. In an emotional flashback, it becomes clear that he had a deep and loving relationship with her. She was not only a beloved partner, but also a symbol of hope and a life beyond war. Nikolai lost his wife in the chaos of war when she was either wounded or possibly even killed in an attack. The exact circumstances of her death are vague, but her absence weighs heavily on Nikolai. This loss amplified his already existing inner conflicts and led him to seek refuge in alcohol. Vodka became not only an escape, but also a constant companion, helping him numb the pain and grief. This sorrow, along with the guilt he felt over his perceived inability to protect her, was crucial to his character development. In many dialogues and flashbacks, it's evident that he often wonders if he could have acted differently to change her fate. This contributes to a deep sense of inadequacy and self-loathing that follows him throughout the story. Involvement in Group 935's experiments. During the war, Nikolai, like many other soldiers, became entangled in the secret machinations of Group 935. This organization experimented with zombie creatures, attempting to control the undead. Nikolai was forced to fight against these supernatural beings, which had emerged from the horrific experiments. His military training helped him deal with these new and grotesque threats, but the constant confrontation with these monsters only deepened his existing traumas. These experiences drove him further into his dependence on alcohol, as he could no longer bear the reality he faced. Search for redemption. Despite his dark past and the tragedies that haunt him, Nikolai remains a survivor. His loyalty to his comrades and his unyielding fighting spirit continue to drive him. He searches not only for physical redemption in the battle against the undead, but also for emotional healing and forgiveness for the mistakes and losses of his past. In the dynamic with his companions, especially Dempsey and Takeo, he realizes that he is not alone. These relationships are crucial for him, providing the strength he needs to face his inner demons. Nikolai is often the one who, despite his own tragedies, tries to encourage the others and lighten the grim mood, even as he struggles with his own pain. Conclusion. Nikolai Belinski is a multifaceted and tragic character in the Call of Duty Zombies series. His backstory is defined by loss, trauma, and the search for redemption in a world filled with chaos and destruction. The combination of his military background, emotional scars, and his quest for human connection makes him one of the most interesting and relatable characters in the zombie saga. His journey from a broken soldier to a loyal friend and fighter demonstrates that even in the darkest times, it is possible to find hope and humanity.